Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. I'm happy to have you here because today we're going to be answering a very important question, one that I get a ton of, especially when I do presentations about organizing and productivity. And that question is, how do I get my family to help out with chores? How do I get them to pitch in and want to organize their space and keep it that way? How do we maintain it? So my podcast guest today is going to be sharing all of her best tips and strategies on how to do just that. So I encourage you to stick around and let's get into it. Hey, and welcome back to the Speak Organized podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Summers, professional organizer, decluttering expert, and productivity-based life coach. I like to speak organized to give you the tools to conquer your clutter, live life with more purpose, and learn all about the business of tidying. Do me a favor, however you're here today, look at the screen of your device and tap that little subscribe button. I would be so honored to have you as a member of the Speaker fam. And don't forget to smash that like button and tap the little notification bell if you're watching on YouTube, because that way you'll be notified every time I post new content. Don't forget to follow along on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the different social media platforms. You'll probably find me there. My handle is @ISpeakOrganized. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Share this podcast with your friends. If you happen to be listening on Apple, I would appreciate giving this podcast a review and help me boost those rankings a little bit. It's the way that I'm able to grow is by the generosity of my fam sharing all of the resources that I am making available at I Speak Organized. I would be so honored to have your support. It really means a lot to me, and it will help me continue to pump out hopefully great quality content for you each week. So my podcast guest today has got a lot going on. She's a wife and a mother. She used to be a teacher and a school principal, and now she owns her own business offering a very cool service called a productivity party. I'm going to let her explain exactly what that is. But a lot of the services and resources that she offers center around routines, schedules, and delegation of household tasks. So if you have a hard time getting your family to pitch in, this is the perfect episode to listen to. Even if you're a professional organizer looking to help your clients answer that question, which I know you're going to get a lot of, this is a good episode for you to listen to. And before we get into that, I want to make sure to get you up to speed on all of the special offers that I Speak Organized has available for you right now. You have the opportunity to schedule an affordable consultation with me to get all of your questions answered. For real, nothing is off the table. And I would be honored to strategize with you and provide you with tons of resources during our call. I am serious about my mission to help you successfully start your own business and help you overcome any fear or doubt you have in your ability to make home organizing your new career. It was the best thing I ever did, and I would love to help you do it too. My schedule fills up quickly, so be sure to click the link in the description or the pinned comment to book your call before all of my slots are full for the month. And if you're ready to get paying clients in the door faster, you're going to need a streamlined process to onboard your prospects. And I have taken all the guesswork out of doing that. What to ask potential clients during consultations, what to put in your agreements, getting customer reviews, and more with my signature Pro Organizer Forms pack. These are 9 done-for-you forms that are customizable in a free Canva account, and I'll even show you how to set up that account if you've never used Canva before. These forms will save you days, possibly weeks worth of work researching and drafting critical documents to run your business professionally, and they're specifically designed for our industry. All of my YouTube and podcast fam get an exclusive discount, YT Pro 8, and that will get you $8 off at checkout. Lastly, if you are totally intimidated by using social media for your business, I have a great class that you can watch on your own time called the I Speak Organized Social Media Method. It includes 5 20 to 30 minute lessons that will help you come up with endless post ideas for the most popular platforms, including easy Reels and TikTok video ideas, how to boost your following and engagement with people who actually like and share your content, how to post consistently without spending hours on social every day, with my signature content planner that you'll receive for free at the end of class, and a breakdown of all my favorite tools and software. I've made it super accessible and affordable for you. And of course, you get a bonus discount for being part of my speaker fam, ISO Social 5 at checkout. Okay, speaker fam, welcome to this episode. I'm very pleased to be joined by my lovely guest, Breanne Venios. She is from the Crafty B Company, and we're going to start chatting all things home organizing. And she's got a lot of really fun things to share with us. Breanne, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So, this episode is going to focus a little bit more on the organizing part of our business. On the podcast, I talk a lot about the business aspect, and today we're going to be focusing a little bit more on what Crafty B Company does. So, can you just tell us a little bit about how you came to this stage of your business, what you were doing previously, and then what led you to organizing?
Sure. I actually just have this business on the side. I am still working a full-time job, but my journey here was I was a high school English teacher, and I recognize that high schoolers, need a little bit of help with organizing. So I spent a lot of time teaching them task management, deadlines, how to keep an agenda. And then that rolled into I was a middle school principal for 9 years, and that's all things organizing. And then we shut down for COVID, and I realized over the pandemic, I just kept seeing people struggling, and I saw families on that end too, as I sat across from them in my position as a principal. Just it doesn't come naturally to everybody on organizing. So during COVID, I did COVID Chronicles. I kind of diaried what we were doing with my family and how we were keeping schedules together and doing at home work while we were working. And people ask me a lot of questions, and I always wanted to open a business, and that was the point where I said, maybe this is where I share what I do. And so the Crafty B Company came to life. My nickname is B, and I chose Crafty because I like to solve problems in a unique way, but I build products to do that as well. And the company because I really am like a family business with my kids help, my husband helps, and one day my dad kind of coined the creating beauty and order in a chaotic world, and that was like our motto, and here we are.
Amazing. I love that. I'm really excited to dive in a little bit more into the products that you offer through Crafty Bee Company. I'm very curious to ask you about that. But I know that a lot of your business centers around systems, routine management, a lot of the productivity stuff. So I want you to, we're going to talk a little bit about how you approach managing the family dynamic and that how that all plays into keeping an organized and tidy space. So a lot of people ask me the question, how do you even begin to approach the subject of delegating responsibilities to other family members? So you're like the perfect person to ask about this because this is something you specialize in. So I want to know, what are the top questions that you should be asking your kids and other family members when you're trying to get them on board with helping to keep their space organized?
Yeah. The very first thing is if you are not doing family meetings, you need to start with family meetings. And the importance of that is it's like you're the CEO of your family, and you have to learn how to build those relationships. And sometimes it means starting at ground zero and assessing where everybody is. So you may be feeling this extreme overwhelm as like the head of the household and feeling like everything falls on you, but your family may not know that. So you start with a family meeting and being very honest with your feelings and then asking where they are, because the mess or the disorganization may not even affect them. But once you kind of discuss it together as a family, then the behavioral part is how to start delegating, is figuring out what they're capable of doing. I truly believe that no matter what age, starting at toddler, they can help around the house, whether it just be getting a washcloth for the bath and teaching them where to hang up their towel, to doing laundry, to dishes, to maintaining their own chores. From there, learning what everybody is comfortable with doing, and then finding a reinforcement for them, because your reinforcer will be getting help around the house, but you have to be able to reinforce their motivation because, again, they may not be bothered by that mess or clutter, but finding something that motivates them. So whether that's an allowance or screen time or a play date or a special treat of like going for ice cream, be careful with food reinforcers, but everybody is motivated by something. So sometimes you just have to figure that out and communicate that as a family. But then finally, once you determine what everyone's comfortable with doing, you actually have to explicitly teach your
Mhm.
family what to do. If you say go do the dishes and they kind of just wipe it with a wet towel and they've never done them, then that makes you more frustrated. So just teaching what you would like them to do as well and supporting them as they're learning that process.
Right on. Yeah. And I talk about family meetings as well. It's super important. And how often are you having these family meetings? Is this like a one and done thing? Are you recommending that you do this on a regular basis? And how do you get everybody to sit down and have that conversation?
Right. Definitely not one and done. It depends. That was something that talking with the client, what they're looking for, what the need is. Our personal family meetings happen pretty regularly. We talk about schedules coming up, and it's just the way that it might just be around the dinner table, but we will say, like, time for a family meeting, and everyone comes running. Definitely monthly. I wouldn't suggest any longer than that to take a pulse on how things are. But, they're not like super formal and serious, but it does take a little bit of time to get used to that, especially if you have teenagers.
Hmm.
That's a whole different breed where it's a little uncomfortable for them and they're in like where socialization with friends is their most important thing. So it all depends on where the family is at that time, where I would recommend how often, but I would not go any longer than a month.
Yeah, that makes sense. And especially I worked with teenagers for a long time as well. And it's just they're really motivated by the time that they get to be independent. So if you're just respecting the fact that, okay, yeah, I know you have plans at 3:30 to go meet with whoever, this meeting is going to take 10-15 minutes. We'll knock it out of the way and then we can sort of move forward. It's such an important skill because as you go into the workforce, you're going to have to know how to interact with people in that setting, and you're going to be in meetings after meetings whether you like it or not. So it's interesting. I don't think very many families actually do that. Anybody watching this or listening to this today, be sure you comment down below in the show notes and let us know if you have family meetings or not. My kids are still pretty little, so we're kind of like working up to that, I think. But my husband and I try to have them pretty often. And the communication factor makes it so much easier to run your household when everybody knows what the expectation is. So glad you brought that up. So I want to move on a little bit to our next section here. And I know that as people start to implement some of these things that are new to them, that are uncomfortable, like you mentioned before, there's going to be mistakes. And so for those people listening and watching today, we want to help them out to avoid some of these mistakes. So what are you seeing most often that's going wrong? What are the patterns that you see that we can try to avoid when it comes to creating organized and solid systems in our home?
The biggest error I would say is not reflecting and adapting, especially when you're first putting things in place. It may not work exactly how you're expecting it to. So, reflecting on that and just tweaking things. And that's where a consultant can help you. If you say this worked, but this didn't, so you can try different things. Um, but on top of that, I think that also realizing that systems you had in place a few years ago don't work as your family unit grows. Right now we're rebuilding our command center in our house because 4 years ago our kids didn't have ginormous softball bags and piano books everywhere, and we just outgrew that space. So knowing that things that you had in place may need to change over time. And also just giving yourself grace. We're so inundated with Pinterest and social media where everything looks perfect, and understanding that that's not reality. Like that's not my reality, even as a consultant for, organization. Things happen, but knowing that you can reset and you have the systems in place. So you may just need some maintenance sessions. So don't give up if things get a little untidy or messy. Like you can always reset that. So I think people kind of take failure as like, I'm never going to be able to do this, but knowing that you can tweak it and grow and don't give up, I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think that you should expect that things are going to change. You should want those things to evolve as your family evolves. It's just the reality of the situation. And I think that getting stuck in the mindset that you're going to set up a system and it's going to work for you forever. If somebody tells you that, run away, because it's just not, it's not true at all. And sometimes it's just fun to shake things up and do
Mhm.
something different for a while. It will kind of help reinvigorate that motivation that you have and teach you a different way of living in a more organized manner that may end up suiting you better than what you had been previously doing. It's kind of having that fluid mindset rather than a fixed mindset. So I think that's a super important point for sure. If you were going to give clients a way to avoid making certain mistakes, what would you tell them?
Oh, avoid the mistakes. I think when you set the systems up, I think that's the consultant's job to ask a lot of questions so that they don't make those mistakes. But in order to avoid is follow that routine. The systems are there and they can be very step by step by step. Um, but the biggest thing for me is I schedule everything and I recommend scheduling everything. So if whatever systems you have in place, maintain that schedule and don't stray from it, because the more you stray, the more chaotic it gets. Um, so whether that be a family calendar, we do chore charts, to-do lists, make it visual so that it's in your face. Like, I have
Mhm.
an appointment to unload the dishwasher after work today, and we actually have those in our family calendar, and that's what I try to recommend to a lot of people, either like a dry erase board, we do a digital calendar, but the kids can physically check it off on their app. And we just do a lot of things where it's in your face that you can't skip it because that's your responsibility before you go have fun.
Right, right. Yeah. So when you're helping clients with this, are you doing this in their space? Are you coming in and setting up these systems? Are you kind of doing all of this virtually?
A lot of it is virtually. I've done two clients in their space. And then I also do in-house parties, but virtual parties. So productivity parties, we call them.
Mm.
So that's not necessarily just specifically for them, but they get a group of people together and I'll share some tips and strategies. And then from there, it's more like a Q&A. So it all depends, but
Gotcha. Yes, it's kind of like a more casual way to essentially give a presentation,
right.
but you're just sort of, if you call, I love that you call it a productivity party. I've never heard that before. That's a great term. It's a great idea.
Yeah, it just I think so many people are afraid to talk about the overwhelming feeling, and it's like a girls' night, some people bring wine and snacks and they just get a chance to share and it's like a safe space. So,
That's awesome. I love that. So that will segue perfectly into my next question because I know that I'm assuming you have some digital products, maybe some physical ones as well that you use. You had mentioned an app. I don't know if you specifically have an app or if you have recommendations that you want to share with us about what you're using to kind of schedule and create these systems. So tell us a little bit more about what you've created and then some additional recommendations for people as far as technology and stuff is concerned.
sure. So what we do is we're very personalized. So you give us a problem and we try to fix it. A lot of our popular products are our K to 12 picture displays, which take your kids' photos and it lines them up K to 12 because a lot of people have trouble displaying pictures. Menu boards is my most popular, where if you're not meal planning, you're wasting money, time, and energy. So, I do personalized menu boards. I also have some that are already pre-made on my site,
Mm.
which are more digital downloads, but I will make a physical one. I have productivity packs where it's kind of like a brain dump and then organizing your thoughts into to do right now, to do later, and it's broken down like work, house, kids, um, and then errands, if you're running errands, like where you're going to go and like, sticking to your list, things like that. Um, Medals and awards displays we do. A lot of people have these keepsakes that they don't really know how to hang them, so we organize with those. We make command centers and, like, things like hair bow displays, dog leash holders, just to make your space cuter, but you have all these things that are necessities and you don't really know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And chore charts I personalize for each client, so, I try to teach clients that, like, you can't do every chore every day depending on your schedule. So if you know, like, Tuesday and Thursday are your free evenings with your kids, you give them, like, more chores to do on those nights.
Mm-hmm.
So just, like, building those for them of what's best for them. And then I can make labels, so if they do have things that they want to be labeled and a little more organized in, like, a cabinet or a pantry, we do those. Um and then my favorite thing I'm working on right now is I get a lot of like, what do you do with your kids' school stuff? And just learning that you don't need to keep all of the worksheets and things. So I actually had a TikTok video go viral that sparked this like thing for me that I had from when my kids started preschool. I had a book and I sent it, and the teachers wrote like a little keepsake. And then one time the book kind of went missing for a little bit and I went into panic mode. So what I started doing was cutting paper to match the colors of the book and shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent that in so that they could just bring me back a piece of paper. Well, I got all these questions about it and everybody was interested. So I created my own that's coming out. And it's called It Takes a Village. And it's a progression of like these little silhouettes on the page of kids growing up from preschool to 12th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cutouts match the pictures and you give the cutouts to the teachers and then you put them in and it's like a keepsake. So then you don't feel so bad throwing away like a math paper because you have what really matters. It's like the words from their teachers and special moments like parents can write in it too throughout the years. So
Oh,
that's
I
my
love that idea. That's such a great replacement for the what we all are currently considering as memorabilia from school. And I had a client one time hand me like this big binder, and their teacher had put every single assignment and quiz and test and like doodle in it, and it was like this thick. And she was like, well, I mean, they put it all together for me. And so we have to find a place to keep it. And I'm like, I really don't think that there's going to be as much sentimental value attached to this thing just because somebody created it as a sentimental piece. So I love the idea of just really boiling it down to the most important sentiment of their school age years into it's almost kind of like a photo journal or something, just like something really special. And I'm having a little bit of trouble visualizing it. So I'm going to get the TikTok, if I can get that link from you so we can share it with everybody, or, the page where we can see it.
Yes, it's, this is my side business. So like clients come first and my projects come second. So it's taking a while, but because I'm hand cutting everything and making it.
Wow.
But I'm almost done. So the launch will be soon. But I'm really proud of it. I hope everyone else likes it. But I think it's a unique idea that a lot of people are looking for, that way to just capture the actual memories of school.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I get that question a lot as well, and it's a constant give and take of trying to figure out how to preserve the memories that are special versus keeping the overabundance of things that really don't matter. So I think that sounds like a great solution. So Breanne, I want to pivot to my next question. We started to kind of talk about this at the beginning of this section of the podcast. And you're talking a little bit about chores.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know that nobody likes to do them. And especially our children, the older ones in particular, they would really rather do just about anything else up to and including a root canal of, 5 different root canals instead of doing their chores. So I'm wanting you to share what your top strategies are for us moms, us parents in general, to get those family members involved? How are we going to get them to follow through on a regular basis and actually help out in a way that makes a difference in our home?
Yeah. It goes back to motivation. So this all started when our kids were young. I have a 9 and 11-year-old now, but we were teaching them way back because you're honestly doing a disservice for your kids if you're not teaching them these skills. So we used to make it fun by blasting music, making races out of things. Like we would say, the first person to put away this pile wins, and just playing games as we do it. So the younger they are, making it fun and look at it as time spent with your family. Like nobody likes to do chores,
Mhm.
but making it an adventure for them if you can. And like it goes back to those family meetings. There's more buy-in when you share at the family meetings how this will help you just be like a better mom or dad or whoever is asking the family to help, and communicating that. But again, it goes back to scheduling everything and not giving them that reinforcement. And I know that's hard sometimes, but really if they're not going to do their part, they're going to want to earn what you set up for them. So making sure that that reinforcer is valuable to them because they will work to get what you have set up. And that, again, that might be just be fun times with the family. It might be going out with their friends after they get their chores done. So again, those visuals of like they check it off on some sort of way that everybody's on the same page, and then giving them that positive feedback.
Mhm.
One thing that I always try to do, especially if I walk in from work and my husband's there, like tidying the kitchen, like I go over and give him a hug and say, thank you. Like that goes a long way. And that goes back to that communication, like letting them know how much it means to you, thanking your kids for putting their socks in the hamper, and just always pointing out the positives instead of nagging all the time. And
Mhm.
then, that's a reinforcer for them just to hear the positive things from you.
Absolutely. And there's scientific evidence to show that it actually will boost their motivation to continue doing something that they know that they're already good at. And I have noticed that particularly my youngest daughter is somewhat motivated by positive reinforcement, but my oldest is like really, really motivated by it. And she will do it to the absolute like nth degree. If you tell her like you're really good at XYZ, I really appreciate how you did that. And so I think that is just such an important point. Everybody go back, rewind and listen to that again because it's super important. I love it. So I think we've covered just about everything here, but I just want to summarize in case somebody was, off making themselves a cup of coffee and not paying attention. So just summarize your top 3 tips for anyone looking for ways to improve their family dynamic when it comes to creating an organized home.
Yeah. So I think that being organized is both physical and mental. So it brings a calm, and understanding that calm is within you too. So communicating, being patient, and giving yourself grace, and building those relationships that everyone understands it's a team effort, but just starting small and growing from there. So keep your systems in place. You're not going to fix your whole entire house or manage everything at once. So starting small and building from there, and just understanding that life is still going on. And when you need to just kind of reset, it's okay to do that, but just stick to it because it'll pay off in the end.
Yeah, beautifully said. Yeah. And if anybody, of course, needs help with these aspects of getting organized, because it's not all just decluttering and organizing your physical space, it is mental, as she mentioned. You can feel free to get in touch with Breanne for some extra help. So, with that in mind, since you have so many wonderful resources available for everybody, I want to make sure that we can find your shop, store, website, Etsy storefront, whatever it is. Give us the details of how we can get in touch with you and find all of your resources.
Sure. So I just kind of transitioned off of Etsy because my products are so personalized. I felt it was more important to put them just on my website. So you can go to thecraftybcompany.com, and it's just the letter B for a Crafty B Company. You can book a productivity party that way. And I also have an ebook on there, and it's called Manage Your Busy Hive, Reclaim Your Queen Bee Title by Training Your Worker Bees. And it has all of the things that I talked about here today and step-by-step actionable things that you can do. It's a short read, but it's all in one place. If you want to see me making products or organizing things, I have a TikTok, and that's at the Crafty B Company. And then I have a Facebook page and a group, and that's at the Crafty B Company. And the group is more personal, like I'll ask questions and we have more conversations. But if you just want to see what I'm doing, I post products and things on the page. And I also have a Pinterest and YouTube, but they get the least of my love. So
Yeah.
I can't promise, but my COVID chronicles are on my YouTube, and they're kind of hilarious if you want to see how my family spent some fun. So it might be worth checking out.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. Yeah, I'm sure everybody would love to kind of dive in, especially if they're on this organizing and productivity journey. It's nice to kind of get an example of how other people are making it happen in all reality. That's wonderful. Well, Breanne, thank you again so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
All right, fam, that is going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. It's always an honor to spend this time with you and have you around in my world. Don't forget to check out all of the goodies down in the description and the podcast show notes. If you're wanting to start your own business, don't forget I offer those coaching calls that are very affordable. I do have a few slots left for the month of April, so go ahead and snag them before they get snatched up. It truly is one of my favorite things to do, to sit and strategize and coach with you. It's always an honor. And be sure to join my free Facebook group. Follow along on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things at I Speak Organized if you're looking for some extra advice, motivation, all that stuff. And of course, I will have Breanne's goodies linked down in the description as well if you're looking to connect with her. Beyond that, I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.